Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the 361 degrees Big 3 5.0 Quick Pro. So this is the Pro version of the Big 3 5.0 Quick. So yeah, they gotta work on the name. It's a very long name, you know what I mean? But 361 degrees is a Chinese company, an up and coming Chinese company, of course, and they are trying to break into the US market, and they've been doing a pretty dang good job. Some of their shoes I'm not a huge fan of, but some of their shoes I absolutely love. But one thing that I really do like about their shoes, or in like the company in general, is that they try to give us really good tech for a really good price, right? So the AG4 was $100 and they raised the price $30, so that is pretty unfortunate. I just checked the price on their website. It's $130 now. It used to be $100 like last year. I don't know why they increased the price, because $100 was a bargain, and this was one of my favorite hoop shoes of last year. Absolute banger. And I just got this shoe in, and like I said, it's the Pro version of the Big 3 5.0 Quick, and this shoe retails for $150 because it is the Pro version. They are using a carbon fiber mid-foot shank plate and also a better cushioning setup. So if you guys do want to cop it, try to leave a link in the description box. But let's get it started right off with the traction. So the traction is a pretty interesting traction pattern, and it gives me a little bit of nostalgia because it reminds me a lot of like I believe it was the KD5, right, or the KD6, where it had this kind of like polygon traction pattern, and we got some like triangles in going into the shape of like that's like a hexagon, right? But yeah, we have like a solid rubber on like the medial side of the shoe and then translucent on the lateral side. And I don't know why they did that, but I guess it's pretty cool. And also, one thing that does worry me is the durability, however, because it does remind me of like a Curry 6. And one thing that I don't like about like two-piece outsoles is that, especially since it's divided here in the middle of the outsole, if you're doing hard lateral movements, especially on outdoor courts, this can kind of like rub off, you know what I mean? So if you're doing a hard movement like laterally, it'll probably like peel off. Maybe we'll have to see on that. I mean, a lot of times it doesn't, like, nothing happens, you know. Usually it's made well, but you know, for example, in like the Curry 6, it can like tear off, you know, so that does worry me a little bit. But yeah, as far as the bite goes on my wood floors, how does the traction feel? It feels freaking amazing, guys. It feels even better than the AG4s. The AG4s, they're solid, you know what I mean? They're not top tier, but they're solid, really nice traction. But this, just on my wood floors, is biting like crazy. Whatever rubber compound that they're using, it's really nice, right? It has a really hard bite and also a very nice loud high-pitched squeak, which of course has nothing to do with performance, but I like to have a nice squeak, so this shoe definitely has that, right? And as far as like dust pickup goes, it might pick up a little bit of dust because the grooves are pretty close together, but we'll have to see how well it bites through dust, right? And the durability seems okay. I mean, 361, or I guess like Chinese companies in general, they try to make their outsoles very durable because the majority of Chinese people play on an outdoor court, apparently, like 90% of them. So yeah, they usually, you know, they try to make very durable outsoles, but honestly, like the grooves aren't, I mean, I guess they are kind of deep, but then like the rubber doesn't seem super hard, but also it's not super soft, you know what I mean? So I feel like it'll be okay on the outdoor court. So the traction, just on my wood floors, it feels really nice. It's just, I'm worried about the two-piece outsole, you know what I mean? Also, in the middle of the outsole, we can see the carbon fiber midfoot shank plate, which is a pretty nice premium touch. It does look like it is the same exact shape as the Big 3 5.0 Quick, however, but the regular version is just using TPU, or just plastic, but the Pro version is using carbon fiber, right? So now moving on to the heel to toe transition, it does feel pretty dang smooth. And one thing that I really like about this shoe is they pretty much expose the entire midsole here, right? So if you look at the heel, they're caging it a little bit, I guess, you know what I mean? The rubber does come up a little bit, but in the heel, it's not really caged that much, especially comparing to the AG4, right? The AG4, this was actually kind of soft, so I didn't really mind it all too much because even though this is all rubber, it's still kind of soft. But like, for example, in the AG4 Soar, the rubber is really stiff there, you know what I mean? But here, they pretty much expose the entire midsole here in the heel, so it's soft, and also we have this nice curve shape, so it feels extremely soft and smooth here in the heel. And then the forefoot, we got a nice curve shape. Look at that. So the shape is really nice and curvy, and also Look at that, right? We have a good amount of flex, right? But you do have to put a little bit of force into it. Then when you let go, you got a nice little springiness to it, you know what I mean? So it does feel springy, right? And also we have a nice smooth heel to toe transition, it feels like so far. So I do like that. And now moving on to the cushioning setup, one of my favorite parts about the shoe right now as well, right? So they are using quick CQ tech. So basically it's using the same exact foam as the AG4, and a lot of their shoes they are using this type of foam, and it looks very similar to just Boost. And just pressing with your finger, it feels extremely soft, and it also has a nice little bounce to it, you know? One thing that I really loved about the AG4, however, that they didn't do in this shoe is the soft mesh strobel, right? So what made the AG4 one of my favorite hoop shoes was because of the cushioning setup, especially for the $100 price tag, even though it's not $100 anymore, you know? But yeah, feeling that quick CQ tech foam right underneath your foot, it just felt so comfortable, so soft, you know, and also added a little bit of bounce, right? It's not as bouncy as like Boom, but it does have a nice little rebound back, right? But here in this shoe, okay, so first of all, the insole's pretty nice. It just reminds you of like a regular Ortholine insole, nothing crazy, adds a little bit to the stepping comfort, you know? But underneath that, we have like a, what is this? Kind of like a felt material almost a little bit, but it's not super stiff, you know, comparing to like, you know, the Luka 2s and stuff like that. So when you press it with your finger, there is a little bit of compression, but of course it's not nearly as soft as the soft mesh board found in the AG4. So that does bum me out a little bit, but it's still pretty dang nice, especially in the forefoot. I can feel a nice little bounce and also compression. Super duper comfortable still, just not as soft as the AG4, of course, right? Also in the heel, you can feel a nice bit of compression, so it's not a huge deal, you know what I mean? And also we do have nice compression here in the actual like midsole from the heel, so that feels nice. And also the overall core feel seems a little bit better than the AG4. The AG4, it has like average core feel, like pretty good core feel, but this feels a little bit lower to the ground. So I feel like this shoe is more for guards, obviously, right? The AG4 obviously is not, it's more focused on Aaron Gordon and like more support, more cushion, but this shoe is more for quick, obviously, right? So that makes sense, and the cushioning setup is feeling pretty dang nice so far. And now moving on to the upper, so they're calling this a knitted upper, which is pretty interesting. And they're calling, I don't really know how to pronounce it. It says Jiao Zong knitted upper. So yeah, hopefully I didn't butcher that, but I probably did. But anyways, how does it feel on foot? It feels really nice. It's a very minimal and thin upper, but also extremely breathable. Look at that, right? So you can see all this airflow, right? There's crazy airflow through the toe box, also on the lateral and medial side, and also here in the tongue. We got a nice mesh material too. So there's a lot of airflow. It feels supportive too. You know, it doesn't really like stretch really at all. And also we have a nice bit of fuse, and this is a pretty stiff feeling fuse as well. Not super thin or anything, doesn't feel flimsy. It does add a good amount to the support, right? The overall rigidness and also structure is added by this kind of like fused material around the toe box, so that feels really nice. And then here in the midfoot area, this feels a little bit more glued down. You know, this is more glued down, and then this is not really glued down, which of course is a good thing. You want more support on, like, you know, the middle of the shoe. And then for the tongue, you actually have a nice bit of padding. It feels really comfortable. It's made out of this like mesh material, and it's also a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And then here in the ankle area, we do have like a pretty nice foam. You know what I mean? It feels like a memory foam. It feels pretty dang plush and comfortable in the back of the shoe. Although it's not super duper thick, I feel like the type of foam that they're using adds to the comfortability here in the back of the shoe. So I really like this material. The only thing I would say is probably the durability isn't going to be the best because it is a very thin material, but it doesn't feel terrible either because it, you know, we have fuse in the correct places, and also it does feel pretty like sturdy, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel super cheap or flimsy or anything like that. So I do like the overall material, and it feels great like on foot. Also, another cool thing is that it says all for speed in the back of the shoe. That's a pretty cool design, I guess, you know? And then also we have the 3, right, for 361, of course, but in this color it's kind of like reflective, which looks dope, you know? And now moving on to the fit. So I went up half a size, and it fits me pretty dang well. I feel like I could have gone true to size, but if I went true to size, it would have been really, really snug, I feel like, because me going up half a size is still pretty snug, right? Here in the AG4, I did go true to size, and this shoe fits me like really, really snug too. I really like, it's like a perfect fit for my foot, but this shoe feels a little bit narrower, right? A little bit narrower, but it's not super tight here in the toe box. I would say it's still pretty snug, but not super snug to the point where I can't even like curl my toes. I can curl my toes up just a tiny bit, but it's still pretty nice for the snugness here in the toe box. So yeah, if you want a really snug fit, then go true to size, but be careful with that. If you want a little bit more relaxed, and also obviously it'll be a little bit longer, then go up half a size if you want to be a little bit safer. But for me, going up half a size right now, I feel it's pretty nice. Hopefully it doesn't like get looser like too much once I break it in and plane it, but right now going up half a size feels pretty nice for me so far. And now moving on to the support in lockdown, it feels like it'll be really good, right? So of course for lateral counters, we can see this plastic piece, right? So here in the forefoot, it comes up even here at like the tip of the toe, right? So that'll be good for lateral containment, right? And also here in the midfoot area, I guess the logo, it does stiffen up the material a good amount. Also, this plastic piece does come up a little bit acting as a sidewall, and it does seem like it does have an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment feels like it'll be very good. And also we have a very wide base. Well, this does protrude out a good amount for anti-rollover. So yeah, lateral stability will probably be very good. And also I'm not really experiencing any type of heel slippage, right? So hopefully, you know, once I plane it, this material isn't super thin and my foot isn't moving inside of the shoe too much, but honestly, it does feel pretty rigid. You know what I mean? We can see like these plastic pieces where the eyelets are, and that does stiffen up the material like here in the midfoot area as well. So I feel like that'll be pretty supportive. So overall support in lockdown feels pretty dang good so far, especially for the weight and also especially for how minimal this upper feels, which I really like, right? And the one thing that really surprised me when I first got these in and kind of just like lifted it up is how light this shoe feels. I feel like it'll be like 11 ounces. It feels extremely light. Yeah, 11.05 ounces, guys. Let's check the other shoe. 10.8, wow, 10.8 ounces. So let's say around 10.9 ounces average, right? So yeah, it's lighter than 11 ounces. Not a lot of shoes are lighter than that. Actually, I have the list for lightest shoes right here. And let's see, the Wake Flash is 10.8. That's the lightest shoe right now. And then number 2 is Adizero Select 2.0 at 10.55 ounces, which that shoe kind of sucks. The GT Cut Academy is 10.75 ounces, coming in at number 3. And the GT Cut 3 is 10.8 ounces, coming in at number 4. So literally this shoe is one of the lightest hoop shoes, like top 5 lightest hoop shoes by weight. And it feels extremely lightweight right now. And also it feels like it'll be very responsive. Like traction feels really good so far. Cushion, it feels super comfortable, but also not super mushy or anything right now. Yeah, it's feeling really good so far, and aesthetically they kind of killed it. I love how this shoe looks. This colorway and also the red colorway looks amazing. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, I'm very impressed. This shoe might even be a little bit nicer than the AG4. The only thing I don't like about it, or it's not that I don't like about it, but I'm a little bit disappointed in that they didn't add from the AG4 is the soft mesh strobe board. But like I said, it's not a huge deal because it still feels pretty dang nice for the step-in comfort. For the Big 3 5.0 Quick Pro, they gotta change that name, it's way too long. But anyways, I'm liking the shoe overall so far. I'm super duper excited to test it out. So that about wraps up this video. Again, if you guys do want to cop a, try to leave a link in the description box. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.